waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good.
Would like to introduce to you our first speaker. We have Sir Rodne Galicha. Rodne Galicha is a resource person on environment and sustainability. He is a former Philippine manager of the Climate Reality Project, founded by Nobel laureate and former US Vice President Al Gore. Currently, he is the executive director of Living Laudato Si Philippines, a movement focused on ethical and environmentally sustainable investments and practices of Catholic institutions and individuals. In 2018, he was awarded as one of the 2018 10 outstanding young men and women time in the Philippines. Hi, Sir Rodne Galicha. I'm handing over to you now the presentation.
Thank you, Sheen. Hello, everyone, and good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good day, and we are thankful really that you join us in tonight's webinar. This is one of our 4 series of webinars. We will have 3 others, and we hope that they'll continue communicating with us and conversing with us. So thank you for joining again. This is Living Laudato Si Philippines, and Living Laudato Si Philippines started, of course, as an interfaith movement, as Sheen said, initiated by Catholic lay people, calling on financial institutions, banks to divest from coal-fired power plants, coal-related operations, and other environmentally harmful activities. And you see there Brother Angel of AMRSP and Brother Armin, Luistro, the De La Salle brothers, and we were together in the launching of Living Laudato Si Philippines in 2018 at the Manila Cathedral. And of course, what we wish is that Living Laudato Si Philippines, we wish to empower citizens to adopt lifestyles and characters and live to the urgent need to take care of our common home. And our actions are anchored towards the goal to promote sustainable development and, of course, mitigating climate change, the climate crisis, and other environmental destructive activities through collective actions between people from different sectors. And of course, we are inspired by Pope Francis's second encyclical Laudato Si on care for our common home. And our vision for Living Laudato Si Philippines is that Laudato Si is a way of life and sustainability as the future. And we commit to build capacities and foster more partnerships with you, organizations, individuals, in actually living Laudato Si as, the principles of this encyclical's framework and tool for sustainable development. And of course, to work with relevant institutions, faith-based organizations, to divest from destructive industries and shift towards financing solutions that promote sustainability and social justice. We work with the Church, of course, with the Vatican, with international networks like our chorus of the Augustinian Recollects, the Dominicans. We're starting to work with them. And at the same time, we are partnering with the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, National Secretary for Social Action, Justice and Peace, and the Eco-Convergence program. And this is actually implementing Laudato Si in the Philippines, helping communities, and at the same time taking action on the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines pastoral letter on ecology. And we're a member of the Global Climate Movement, of the Global Alliance on the Rise of Nature, the Asia Climate Change Consortium, the Rise of Nature Philippines, Action Klima, Powerful People Coalition, Green Convergence for Safe Food, Healthy Environment, and Sustainable Economy. And of course, for us, our call is to divest for sustainability and divest in our common home. And we work with the Catholic churches, with the Catholic Church, and of course institutions, and we keep track of our investments in financial institutions and corporations. And we work with the church to call on, of course, local financial institutions to avoid and to stop funding industries and engaging in industries that harm our environment. As regards divestment campaign, we spoke and intervened at the annual shareholders meetings of the banks, like the Bank of the Philippine Islands in 2018 and 2019, China Bank in 2019, and Banco de Oro in 2019. We are also taking deeper look following companies and corporations like the DMC High Holdings, the Consumis, Coal, and San Miguel Corporation. And because of these institutions, faith-based institutions, and partners like CBCP, PMPI, Philippine Missionary Partnership, the Association of Major Religious Affairs in the Philippines, and the civil society, we formed this coalition called Withdraw from Coal Coalition to stop investing in dirty energy, stop funding climate crisis, and of course the continued suffering of coal-affected communities. And there has been a signature campaign with the coalition, and around 34 dioceses already signed the petition, 150 individuals, and one city mayor, particularly the mayor of Masbate City, and of course there are some religious congregations. And we work with Timonan also with our network and the signature campaign to stop coal-fired power plant there, the building of it. And we had also conducted an interfaith summit on climate emergency last year with different faith communities in the Philippines. And if you wish to know more about coal, we are bringing to communities and schools the documentary of Cheche Lazaro. It's a 30-minute investigative documentary of Probe Productions, and it talks about the realities of a coal-fired power industry in the Philippines. And we hold town hall meetings and open fora. And these are the areas that we've been to. We started with the Parish University, and we went to Masbate City. We have also hashtag LS211 because Laudato Si is a very long document. So we focused particularly on Laudato Si number 211, Laudato Si on Care for a Common Home. These are the highlights of the actions, 9 doable actions and effective strategies on how to show our love and care to our common home, enumerated by Pope Francis. We can share this with you through our website and our social media as well. And we're now developing a framework for Laudato Si schools. We're working with the Dicastery for Promoting Integral Human Development, the Vatican, and of course, late this year, the Federation of Asian Bishops' Conference's Office of Education and Faith Formation will be, we're planning to have a summit on Laudato Si schools coming this September or August, depending, of course, on the situation. We managed to draft something, and these are the 10 not categories, but criteria for, if you wish to have your school, make your school Laudato Si compliant, then we have this 10 pushes for Laudato Si schools. We have publications also, 2 publications that you can download. The Laudato Si Manifesto, which is actually a fruit of reflections of Brother Tagoy Hakosalem, the Augustinian Recollect. And we also launch the Sustainable Development Goals on Laudato Si Handbook towards Eco Solidarity, created by our staff, Living Laudato Si Philippines. And we will be actually relaunching this online on May 24. I hope you will be able to join us and we're actually planning to invite as one of our speakers some people from the Vatican for this. So this is our story, and we collaborated with the CBCP and civil society to come up with a pastoral letter on ecology. We're happy that this is the fruit of the civil society and the lay people in collaboration with the bishops. Pressure on banks, hashtag LS211, our interfaith summit and partnerships. So thank you so much, and we hope that this session, together with the Bishop Jerry Alminaza, will be able to learn more about Laudato Si and the actions that we can do during COVID-19 pandemic and after COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you so much, and blessed evening to all of you.
Thank you again, Sir Rodne Galicha. For everyone, if you want to collaborate with us, we are really happy to partner with you. We will share our contact details before we end this session. And now we're moving on to our next speaker. He is all the way from San Carlos Negros. I'd like to introduce to you Bishop Gerardo Alminaza. Bishop Jerry was formerly known to most people as an ordained priest of the Diocese of Bacolod for 22 years, before being appointed Auxiliary Bishop of Haro by Pope Benedict XVI in 2008. 5 years later, Pope Francis designated him to the Diocese of San Carlos on the island of Negros as its third bishop in 2013, when Super Typhoon Yolanda taught us an important lessons on the care for our environment now contained in the Pope Francis Laudato Si. Bishop Jerry resides in San Carlos City, which is recognized by United Nations as one of the most livable cities in the world, and at the same time serves as the people of Negros, which is being regarded as the renewable energy capital of the Philippines and Southeast Asia. They have 9 solar power plants, 8 biomass plants, and 10 hydropower plants with a combined capacity of 579.43 megawatts. And it is no surprise that Bishop Jerry, together with his priest and the 3 other bishops in Negros, are strongly opposing the planned 300 megawatts San Miguel Corporation global coal-fired power plant in San Carlos City. He stands by his strong conviction that it is a human right to live in a clean, healthy, and safe environment. Hello, Bishop Jerry. I'm giving you now the floor. Kamusta po kayo? Kamusta
Good
po po?
evening. Good evening. I'm well. I'm happy so
Good
far.
to hear that.
The whole Diocese of San Carlos is COVID-free. Thanks
Wow.
be to God. And I greet good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day to all our companions out there. And I'm happy to just provoke you into reflecting with us compassion for people and our planet as a way of living Laudato Si during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. How do we express witness, give witness to compassion for people and planet? So, of course, our inspiration, as mentioned already, is the Laudato Si of Pope Francis, which he published last June 18, 2015, but he signed it actually last May 24. That's why from starting this year, every May 24, the week before that, we will observe all over the world the Laudato Si week as an activity to really encourage us, inspire us to care for our common home. So, you know, this through this encyclical of Pope Francis, he places the church behind the environmental movement. And he also, this Laudato Si is the first Catholic document ever to directly address the climate emergency. Before it was just climate change. Now we really consider it as a climate emergency. And this is not just for Catholics, but it's for everyone. everyone who loves Mother Earth. And it follows the See Judge Act process. And then the main gist of this encyclical is this conviction that everything is interconnected and interdependent. And also that societal transformation starts with a change of heart, and that the Catholic teaching is really focused on the environment, because before it was on labor, there was a teaching on human rights, but this one is really just on the environment. And it starts with asking the question, what is happening to our common home? Here, the Pope draws a lot from scientific studies and researches. So it is not just something that is really fruit of reflection, but it is really based on scientific study and research. So science is very much part of this document, and it speaks about the throw away culture that we are in. And it also speaks about pollution and waste, climate change, and now we call it now climate emergency, because there the Pope indicates that climate is a common good. In fact, we all have the right to a good climate. Then also speaks of loss of diversity, biodiversity. There is also human and social degradation. They're all interconnected. And then there is inequality in more ways than one. And because of this, it leads to a lot of conflicts over our resources, both human and environmental. And so the Holy Father in this encyclical also presents us a theological vision or perspective of creation, because, you know, faith motivates us to care for one another. It is also challenging us not to think of dominion as an excuse for over exploitation, that we can do whatever we want. But in fact, we have to situate ourselves as part of God's creation. And so creation does not just refer to nature, but it is wider than that. Private property is neither absolute nor inviolable. And here the Holy Father speaks of a spiritual crisis that is brought about by a rupture in our relationships with God, with neighbor, and with the earth. And so it is not just looking at creation, I mean, the problem of environment from scientific point of view, but also from the ethical point of view and spiritual or theological point of view. Then the Holy Father also pointed out in this encyclical what are the human roots of the ecological crisis. That at the end of the day, the problems that we see around us is actually caused by man, by all of us. We contribute to this. And basically, he pointed out technocratic paradigm. You know, while we rejoice over the contribution of advancement technology, but it has gone to a point that it becomes really the dictator. It dictates all of our life, and it's not anymore balanced, no? Because technology, he said, is not necessarily a sign of progress. And he speaks about of modern anthropocentrism, meaning man is really put as the absolute center of the universe. And that is not right, because actually we need the rest of creation. Without the rest of creation, we cannot live. So we have to look at the interrelatedness and interdependence, no? And so he was really trying to correct this modern anthropocentrism, and that value is only seen in the aspect of material use. I would put it this way also. It's more of having and doing rather than being. So now the Holy Father is saying, if man is at the root of this crisis, at the root of this solution also is man. So he is presenting a new humanism, a new anthropocentrism that is not absolute, but considers really man as stewards of God's creation. And he speaks a lot, and this is his unique contribution, of integral ecology. which involves economic ecology, social ecology, and environmental ecology. And it speaks also of the common good. And one thing that I like about his presentation in this chapter is the intergenerational justice. That justice is not just within our generation, but it also reaches out even to those who are not yet born. So we owe it to those who will come after us to give them a universe, God's creation in its beauty and in its order and usefulness, no? So that's what we call intergenerational justice. Then he offers also some lines of approach and action, as always. Part of integral ecology is also integral approach and an inclusive approach. Um, he calls strongly for the urgent phase out of fossil fuels. And this really motivated me to really stand up against coal-fired power plants, because this is very, very much part of his teaching. And if we really believe in our Holy Father, that he is really the vicar of Christ, we need to obey him. And it's not just because of blind obedience, because there's so much science behind it. And also, he calls for inclusive and transparent decision making, that we have to think globally and act locally, that we reject the sole focus on maximizing profits. We are against profit before planet and people. That should be the other way around. And it has to be science and religion together. And now we are being challenged if we are ready for the new normal after the pandemic. For example, are we willing to be in step with all this technological advancement, development, without compromising our faith convictions, and also without destroying the environment? So it calls for integral ecology. So, because of course, during this pandemic, a lot has changed in our way of life. And also, we're happy that our Mother Earth was able to rest. So are we able to sustain such situation where the environment is safeguarded and yet move on with our development? Of course, we realize this calls for ecological conversion. It's not just moral conversion, spiritual conversion, but the Holy Father speaks of ecological conversion, a change of our way of life, way of thinking, the way we care for our common home. And it's so providential that this pandemic happened during the season of Lent. And then we are asked to observe enhanced community quarantine. You know that quarantine literally means 40 days. And so you know that we have 40 days of Lent. Jesus fasted and prayed in the desert and was tempted in the desert for 40 days. And also, if we look back, the journey, the Exodus experience of the chosen people happened within 40 years. And so there is something here also that God is teaching us. It's a moment to really reflect and examine our priorities, our way of life. Parang it's like we are being challenged to go and reset our life, because I think we have been so busy and we missed out a lot of those things that really matter for us. So I hope that during this quarantine, we were able to really point out essential things. And this is a good time to highlight some of the challenges that Pope Francis has given us in Laudato Si. So the COVID-19 pandemic during this time of quarantine made us realize that it is not just a health issue, but is in fact a reflection of the environmental crisis. That these two, the pandemic and the crisis in environment, the climate emergency that we are in, are related. In fact, it's very important to also realize that how we are now responding to this health issue should be at the same time our attitude in responding to the environmental crisis, because this virus is very invisible and also but very potent and very dangerous. But how about the climate emergency? It isn't that it's even bigger than the virus, and the destruction that it will result into is even more disastrous. So therefore, it is really challenging us to also face at the same time this environmental issue. So the Holy Father is saying one time in a conference on religions and sustainable development goals of the United Nations, he said that when we speak of sustainability, we cannot overlook how important it is to include and to listen to all voices, especially those usually excluded from this type of discussion, such as the voices of the poor, the migrants, the indigenous people, and the young. Let's take note of this: the poor, the migrants, the indigenous people, and the young, that they should really be part in decision making. And also we have to listen to them, what they have to say. This is what Holy Father is saying about being inclusive in approach. And there's this one good thing that we heard recently from Mr. Ramon Ang, the president of San Miguel Corporation, that last April 1 this year, he said at this point, at the height of this pandemic in our country, what is more important, he said, are lives, not money. This is one important lesson that we learned during the quarantine. And I'm happy that Mr. Ang articulated that. And I hope he will remember this when he will again review where they should put their money as investment in San Miguel Corporation, that they should stop funding and building coal-fired power plants that are responsible for destroying our environment, that will also affect the quality of our lives. So as he said, lives are important, not money. We have the money, but if you are faced with this pandemic virus, so what can you do? It will not save us. So anyway, our own companion in Living Laudato Si Philippines, the program manager, John Leo Algo, also wrote a very important piece on sustainability. He said basically that, maximizing profit for all businesses for the sake of just having profit is really not acceptable anymore. That does not apply in a world that would likely be more motivated to genuinely enact reforms towards sustainability. If we are for sustainable development, meaning that it will respect our basic conviction, faith conviction especially, it will respect the environment, we need to do away from this value system that put profit as the top priority. We in the CBCP last year, as mentioned by Rodne, we were able to come up with another pastoral letter reviewing, tracing the development of our teachings since 1988, when we first wrote that pastoral letter on our environment, what is happening to our beautiful land, which was also quoted in Laudato Si by Pope Francis. We entitled this recent pastoral letter on ecology as an urgent call for ecological conversion, hope in the face of climate emergency. Among other things, what we said in that pastoral letter is that the cry of Mother Earth is as urgent as the cry of the poor for social justice. That's exactly what the Pope is saying in Laudato Si. The cry of Mother Earth is very much linked with the cry of the poor. Then we are connected to the earth as our lives and the lives of all other beings are interconnected with each other. Interconnectedness of everything. Then we also said that we need to recognize the rights of nature at the core of the call for ecological conversion, because for so long, that's precisely what we pointed out, no, the modern anthropocentrism that is absolutizing the place of man in the universe. No, we share rights with the rest of God's creation. So nature also has rights, not just us. So this is also part of the call for ecological conversion. We are to respect and act together in order to mitigate the ill effects of climate change on our planet and our communities. And in the spirit of accountability, we demand climate justice, because those who are mostly responsible greatly contributed to the ecological degradation. They get away with it, while those who really suffer the most from its consequences are the poor people. So there's a call for climate justice. We also owe it to the next generation of Filipinos to ensure ecological integrity and biodiversity conservation for their own benefit in their own time. And so with this, we concluded our pastoral letter with some ecological actions. No, some of them are integrating the care of creation as our common home, in our Christian teaching, in our homilies, minimizing consumption and proper waste management, etc. No, you can really look at them in various ways. No, it's about ecological awareness, biodiversity, our water conservation, sustainable agriculture, etc. But what we highlighted now, and this is really where we are now campaigning tonight and during this time, is to divest. It's a call for all our Catholic institutions to divest our financial resources from fossil fuels. This is part of the call of the CBCP, echoing the call also of Pope Francis in Laudato Si. So, talking about divestment from coal and investing on renewable energy, we ask ourselves, has renewable energy grown in the Philippines? Look at this statistics, this data. In 2008, the biggest, well, next to the biggest is really coal, no, 26%, while the renewable is even higher. But in 2015, coal now occupies 45% as a source of energy for our country. And in 2018, it has risen to 52%. So in a span of 10 years, the power generated from coal, instead of really decreasing, has even tripled, no? In spite of the fact that we are the first, if not one of the first country to enact the Clean Energy Act. So we ask ourselves, are we addicted to coal? Let's look at the statistics. In the country, there are national installed coal capacity of 9,314 megawatts. And in the last decade, 16 new coal-fired power plants were added to the national coal fleet. And our country ranked the 9th as the biggest coal expansionist in the world out of 60 countries. And we are still becoming more reliant on coal as of September 2019. So what is more alarming is that in the pipeline, there are 12,014 megawatts of new coal-fired power plant projects being prepared. And that's why we are trying to stop this also. We don't want to add more. In fact, we should really campaign for more renewable energy sources. So we go into asking the important question, who is financing all these coal-fired power plants that make it possible to have more of this polluting projects. So, according to our research, nearly 320 billion were given to developers of coal-fired power plants from 2017 to the third quarter of 2019 of last year. And you know who financed them? Mostly, they come from 13 local Philippine banks. And the top two of these banks are BDO and BPI. They provided 54.67% to coal financing combined. No? So more than half of the money spent on coal-fired power plants were shelled out by BDO and BPI. So if we are depositors of these two banks, we contributed to that as well. That's why we are campaigning for divestment, because by conscience, we cannot allow our money to be used by these banks in financing these things that destroy Mother Earth. That is something that we need to understand if we want to be integral, no? You can see in our slides, the previous slides, please, the other banks, no, that are really contributing, no? China Bank, RCBC, Security Bank, Bank of Commerce, PNB, Metro Bank, Land Bank, Union Bank, UCPB, East West Bank, Philippine Bank of Communication. So these are the rest of the 13 local Philippine banks. So please take a hard look at this. Examine yourselves. No, we will call on our Catholic shareholders. No, you know, we have the power in our hands, even though we consider ourselves perhaps small depositors. We have maybe small investments, but you know, as individuals, as families, as institutions, or also as parishes, dioceses, archdioceses, also as lay and religious organizations, because we do have funds, and also as educational institutions, we deposit to these banks. And as depositors and shareholders, we have the power to influence their policies. You know, that's why we attend. If we know, and if we are not just prevented by pandemic, we would attend really the gathering, the assembly of shareholders of this bank in order to deliver our message that we don't want our money used in investing on coal-fired power plants, in fossil fuels. And we are asking them to transition to renewable energy if we have to be conscientious depositors, no? If we want to maintain our integrity, our moral and spiritual integrity, we cannot join this divestment campaign. So it is part of our legacy for the next generation that now we work out, no, this divestment. We demand that our investments, or shall we say, the banks where we deposit our money, they should invest rather our money for sustainability, for integral ecology, integral development. Stop patronizing the products and services of those companies that are engaged in polluting our environment, that are largely responsible for the climate emergency that we are in. If we are panicking because of the COVID-19, how much more we should panic because of climate emergency. We have to meet that deadline in 2013 to keep 1.1 degree centigrade of the temperature of Mother Earth. Otherwise, we will have problems. You know that as of December 2019, 12 trillion US dollars or 600 trillion of assets have already been divested from fossil fuels. That's good news, meaning this is putting so much pressure on financial institutions. And you know that this 12 trillion US dollars assets came from 1,200 institutions, 150 of which are Catholic. So it's only a minority. Mostly they're not even coming from Catholic institutions. So that is a big challenge for us. We in the country, we are majority Catholic. We have to allow our faith to decide where we should put our money. And this amount, 12 trillion US dollars, also are coming from 58,000 individuals. So I hope that some of you who are joining us will help us, will join us in this campaign to call for divestment from coal. So what are some examples so far? Those who have taken the lead, of course, among us in the country, the CBCP has also taken the lead. And so more and more dioceses are making this commitment to divest from coal. Of course, as I talk to you, we have to walk the talk. So we also, the Diocese of San Carlos, are also committing to this, as well as many other charitable institutions like Caritas Philippines, Environmental Science for Social Change, no? And so I hope more and more will join us in this campaign. So this broad coalition is called Withdraw from Coal. And as a start, we focus on the Bank of the Philippine Islands, or BPI. And of course, you know that together with BDO, they are the top two that is really financing our coal-fired power plants in the country. And so we would like to really draw inspiration from the last State of the Nation address of our beloved President of the country. For the first time, there is something that we are happy with what he said in the SONA. He said, we recognize the urgent need to ensure the sustainability and availability of resources and development of alternative ones. In this regard, I trust that the Secretary Kusi shall fast track also the development of renewable energy sources and to reduce dependence on traditional energy sources such as coal. That's the marching order of the Philippine President. And we have to do as our part as citizen to follow up on that our President will really walk his talk, and that his Energy Secretary will really show that he is taking seriously the mandate that our country's president is giving him. So let's follow up on that. And this is something that we are happy to tell you. Since 2018, no new coal-fired power plant has entered construction in the Philippines, resulting in the delay or cancellation of as much as, you know how much? 4,054 megawatts of coal power. So you can just imagine how many greenhouse emission have we prevented from getting into our atmosphere, no? So that is good news, and we need to keep working on that. And another good news is that recently, Ayala has just made a declaration. And then again, we have to make sure how they will put this into a reality. That they said they will fully abandon coal investments by 2030. That is good news. And that we need to really follow up on that. We have to be vigilant, make sure that they also walk their talk, and let us see how they will implement that. Also, aside from that, we need to keep on following up BPI and other banks to really remove funding, stop funding coal-fired power plants. As you said, there is already several in the pipeline, but if they stop funding that, that will stop also, so that we can keep 1.5 degrees centigrade temperature for our climate, to make our climate, our Mother Earth, really livable. So here is an example of the letter to the BPI that we prepared when we launched the withdraw from coal. It speaks of ourselves as Catholic community, but of course this is also open to non-Catholics if they want to adopt this letter as depositors, shareholders, borrowers, and stakeholders, shareholders of BPI. In the spirit of Laudato Si, we would like to request, we appeal, we ask the BPI to divest our money. Sorry. We are asking BPI that they should use our money wisely. They should not put profit ahead of the common good, so that really for sustainability's sake, they have to respect our fundamental conviction as Christians and not to compromise our integrity. So we ask them to stop funding destructive plans, and that we encourage them to maintain their prestige, so that with their credibility unblemished, other banks hopefully will follow their example. And so our call is divest for sustainability, invest in our common home. That is a very, very, very laudable cause. And I hope you will join us, my dear brothers and sisters. How to do this? That is really the next discussion that we shall have. No, we will ask Sir Rodne to help us really understand how to do this, and making Laudato Si of Pope Francis truly a way of life. Thank you very much. Padayon.
Thank you so much, Bishop Jerry.
Thank you,
Welcome.
Bishop. And right now, Sheen, I think we have a little video for everyone. And after the video, we'll have our open forum, Sheen. So let's watch this first.
Sumainyo ang kapayapaan. #Buhay Laudato Si. Sa panahon ng COVID-19 pandemic, ang maging isang responsableng mamamayan para sa kalikasan ay napakahalaga. Tandaan natin na ang kapaligiran ay hindi lamang ang inang kalikasan, kundi ang mga kapwa nating nakapaloob dito. Sa inspirasyon ng Laudato Si, bilang 211 ni Pope Francis, narito ang ilang mga kapakipakinabang na maaari nating gawin sa panahon ng krisis na ito. Una, panatilihing malusog ang pangangatawan. Kumain ng tamang pagkain at uminom ng maraming likido o tubig at kinakailangang bitamina. Huwag kalimutang mag-ehersisyo. Pangalawa, alagaan ang kalusugan ng iyong kaisipan. Iwasan ang sobrang pagdamdam at pag-iisip, ng mga kwento at balita tungkol sa pandemic, kabilang dyan ang social media. Maaari mo rin gawin ng mga bagay na nakapaglilibang sa iyo na hindi nakapagdudulot ng stress at pagkabalisa. Pangatlo, panatilihing malinis at ligtas ang iyong sarili. Huwag kalimutang maligo. Panatilihin ang personal hygiene at ugaliing maglinis ng bakuran at ng inyong tahanan. I-segregate ang mga basura at i-compost ang mga nabubulok. Pang-apat, turuan ang iyong sarili at ang iba pa tungkol sa COVID-19 pandemic. Alamin ang pinakabagong mga balita at makinig sa payo ng mga profesional at ng mga eksperto. Iwasan ang pagbabahagi ng fake news and information kahit ano paman ang mangyari. Panlima, maging isang responsableng mamimili. Kung pupunta sa palengke at bibili sa grocery, iwasan ang single-use plastics and paper. Iwasan din ang pag-aaksaya ng pagkain, tubig at iba pang mga gamit sa oras at pagkatapos ng community quarantine. Patayin ang ilaw kung hindi naman kinakailangan at bawasan ang paggamit ng kuryente. Pang-anim, alamin at mag-aral ng mga bagong kasanayan o skills. Maaari mong subukan ang pagtanim at pagpalago ng iyong sariling pagkain tulad ng gulay sa iyong bakuran, magluto ng mas malusog na pagkain o mag-aral kung paano pangalagaan o ikumpuni ang ating mga appliances. Malay mo, mayroon ka palang tinatagong talento na dapat mong tuklasin. Pampito, makipag-usap at gumawa ng mga aktibidad na makapagpapalakas ng inyong pagkakaisa at pagmamahalan ng pamilya sa loob ng tahanan. Of course, ang physical distancing ay dapat isaalang-alang. Pangwalo, huwag kalimutan ng ating mga kapatid na mas nangangailangan upang sila ay makasurvive araw-araw. Ang ating mga frontliners, ang mga nawalan ng hanap buhay, at ang mga walang makain. Magbahagi ng mga blessings, mag-donate online o sa mga lehitimong mga organisasyon. Pangsyam, sundin at igalang ang mga panuntunan at mga bilin ng mga otoridad upang mapigilan ang malawakang paglaganap ng virus. Huwag mahiyang magtanong kung hindi malinaw ang mga patakaran. At huwag kalimutang idokumento at i-report kung may paglabag sa mga karapatang pangtao. At pangsampu, manalangin. Ipanalangin matapos na ang dilubyong ito. Tuloy-tuloy na panalangin. Idalangin natin ang mga frontliners at ang mga naapektuhan ng COVID-19 at ang kanilang mga pamilya. Alam natin na hindi tayo pababayaan ng poong may kapal. Ito ang sabi ni Pope Francis. Gayunman ang edukasyong ito na naglalayong lumikha ng pang-ekolohiyang pagkamamamayan, paminsan-minsan ay limitado sa pagbibigay ng impormasyon at nakakaligtaang makapaghasik ng magandang kaugalian. Ang pag-iral ng mga batas at patakaran ay hindi sapat sa katagalan upang supilin ang masamang pag-uugali, kahit na naruroon ang epektibong paraan ng pagpapatupad. Kung magdadala ang mga batas na ito ng makabuluhan at pangmatagalang epekto, dapat na nakararami ng mga kasapi ng lipunan ay maudyok silang sapat na matanggap ito at magkaroon ng personal na pagbabago upang makatugon. Tanging sa paglinang ng mahusay na pagkamatuwid na makakaya ng mga tao na mag-alay ng walang pag-iimbot na panatang ekolohikal. May pagkamarangal ang tungkulin sa pangangalaga ng sangnilikha sa pamamagitan ng maliliit na pagkilos araw-araw at kahanga-hanga kung paanong nagdala ng totoong pagbabago sa paraan ng pamumuhay. #Buhay Laudato Si.
Hi again. We have 3 questions in the Q&A tab. First is how can we join or become part of Living Laudato Si? What are your programs or activities that involve the youth? Sir, this question is for you, sir. Rodney.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes, magandang
Would you like to answer
yes.
this question, Sir Rodney?
Yes.
Hello.
Magandang gabi. Nadidinig ka namin? Nadidinig ba ako ng lahat?
Yes, I can hear
Okay.
you.
Sige. Meron po tayong mga iba't ibang programa at kung nais niyo pong sumali sa atin, i-text niyo lang po si Sheen at may email din po tayo. Yung email po natin ay constituency@livinglaudatosI.org.ph. At kung nais niyo po kaming bisitahin sa social media, pumunta lang po kayo sa ating Facebook page at i-message niyo po kami. At meron po tayong programas para sa mga kabataan. May tatlo po tayong main na mga programa. Of course, yung una yung kunento ni Bishop Jerry sa atin, yung divestment na meron tayong dalawang klase noon. Yung direct divestment, kung meron kang investment sa bangko at sa mga korporasyon, matutunuan po namin kayo kung paano gagawin. Ito po hindi lamang nag-i-into divestment, kundi sa investment din. Parang divest, invest. Yung indirect divestment naman po ay yung we will stop patronizing their products and services. Isa po iyan. At syempre, maaari po nating sulatan yung ating mga bangko o corporations o companies na pakiusapan na huwag na silang magpondo ng mga proyektong hindi nararapat para sa ikabubuti ng ating kalikasan. The second one po ay yung tinatawag nating #LS211. Ito po ay atin pong nilaunch sa Mary's School of Marikina at ito po yung 9 small actions of love for for the care of our common home. At kung nais niyo pong malaman, search lang po kayo sa Facebook ng #LS211 Laudato Si at makikita niyo po iyan. Ito po ay mga maliliit na mga bagay na maaari nating gawin sa bahay, sa komunidad, at sa ating mga trabaho, sa ating mga workplaces. At ito po yon yung #LS211. I-share din po namin yan sa inyo. Ipapadala namin ang kopya. At yung pangatlo po ay yung Laudato Si Schools. Sa Laudato Si Schools po, yung kinuwento natin po kanina, ay gumagawa po tayo ng framework para paano maging Laudato Si compliant ang ating mga eskwelahan. May Catholic school or college or university, meron po tayong 10 estratehiya na hindi lamang po nagtatapos sa curriculum, kundi ito po ay sa buong lahat ng mga elemento ng ating edukasyon. Sa inyong strategic plan, sa inyong solid waste management, sa inyong water management, at ating mga research, etc. So maaari niyo po kami i-contact. At kung nais po ninyo malaman ang tungkol sa Laudato Si Schools, ay naghahanap po kami ng pilot school para ito ay maisagawa, para ma-institutionalize po itong mga stratehiyang ito. At meron pa pong isa ay yun nga po yung interfaith community natin. Nagkaroon tayo ng engagement sa iba't ibang mga relihiyon, faith communities, beliefs sa mga indigenous peoples, kung paano magkakaisa at gamitin ang pananampalataya ang ating mga paniniwala kung paano ma-resolve yung ating problema sa climate crisis. Kaya po, isi-share po ni Sheen mamaya yung ating contact details.
Okay.
Sheen, may mga tanong pa tayo?
Yes, we do have a lot of questions. For the second question is, one of the main points that was given an emphasis in Living Laudato Si is everything is interconnected and interdependent. The concept of system thinking points to this principle. How can we integrate and mainstream this thinking in public policy making, research, advocacy, and even in our daily lives?
Si Bishop siguro. Ikaw muna, Bishop.
How about Bishop?
Sige. Alam mo, we choose the Tagalog lang? Kasi
Yes,
I don't know,
there
are people from outside kasi the country, no? Are they Filipinos also? Anyway, sige. Yung interrelatedness, alam nyo, it's not Catholic thing lang ha, kasi yung mga indigenous people natin, they are really very much into this, no? In our dialogue with the indigenous people, they have so much respect, ang parang they really consider sacred yung the rest of creation, no? And may sarili din silang mga laws, regulations to safeguard the environment. Kaya nga in some places, lalo na sa mga kabundukan, yung mga indigenous people natin ay mga ano natin yan, kasabwat o ano ba tawag doon, yung fellow advocates natin sila for the protection of Mother Earth. We need also to to really influence our congressmen and women. Kaya na tayo as voters, as Catholic voters, we really have to be strong in choosing whom to vote sa Congress and also in government positions, so that they would really ensure the protection of Mother Earth, and that they will have this mindset, no? So siguro we have to start sa education from childhood pa lang, no? At saka dapat makasama talaga sa culture natin yan, no? So talagang with this pandemic siguro, when we are now back to our homes, sana doon we will start inculcating sa mga kapwa nating Pilipino yung magkaugnay tayong lahat, no? I-popularize natin yung song na yan, na lahat ay magkaugnay lahat tayo, no? So ang nangyayari sa bansa natin, may epekto yan sa ibang bansa, no? So sana yun lang to start the discussion siguro. Sir Rodne,
Opo, Bishop, at syempre ang tanong din po ay tungkol sa policy making and research. Yun nga po,
yes,
sa policy naman po, nandyan po yung sabi nga ni Pope Francis sa Laudato Si na dapat ay yung mga batas ay suportahan, lalong-lalo na yung mga batas na nag-care for a common home. At kaya yung Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, yung one of the 13 ecological actions doon, ay yung pagsuporta doon sa mga pending bills na nag-care sa ating kalikasan. At the same time, yung pag-implement ng mga existing na mga batas. At naandun po yun sa Catholic Bishops' Conference Pastoral Letter on Ecology, yung pagsuporta sa pending bill ng National Land Use Act, no? Sinuportahan natin iyan. At pangalawa po yung yung Alternative Minerals Management Bill, yung People's Mining Bill, na dapat ay ito ay kailangan ng maipasa. At meron pa pong maraming mga bills like yung mga Forest Management Bill at
Rights of Nature.
Yung Rights of Nature Bill na naandun din po. At syempre po sa advocacy, nakalista na rin po doon sa 13 ecological actions ng CBCB Pastoral Letter yung kailangan nating gawin at anong mga suporta, mga susuportahan ng mga kampanya tulad sa ating mga katutubo like our indigenous peoples, and at the same time programs and projects that promote sustainable agriculture, that promote care for our water and biodiversity, and iwasan yung mga monocropping, yung mga plantation, and at the same time GMOs at marami pa. Opo. At sana nasagot po natin yan. Pero siguro hayaan niyo po ako na i-share lang po sa lahat yung eco actions na sinasabi po ni Pope Francis. At I think it's good to actually share that one, share those ngayon. At sige po, titingnan po natin. Para lamang po makita natin yung 13 eco actions ng CBCP, but at the same time po yung siyam na eco actions na sinasabi po ni Pope Francis. So ito po siya. Asa na ba? Sandali lang po at nawawala. So ito po yung 13 eco actions na sinasabi ni Pope Francis. Ayun po, nakikita niyo po yung 9 eco actions pala, hindi 13. Yung avoiding the use of plastic and paper, ito po si Pope Francis po talaga, these are Pope Francis's words, no? Reducing water consumption, separating waste segregation.
Next question is, how do we encourage the parishes to participate? Bishop Jerry?
Sige. Siguro pwede naming i-discuss din sa CPCP yan, either sa Permanent Council o sa Plenary Assembly to encourage, or ako personally, I can personally write our fellow bishops to encourage all the clergy and parishes na to really take seriously the Laudato Si. In fact, marami na tayong na-create na mga modules, no, sa mga various groups na para magiging lifestyle talaga itong tinuturo ng Laudato Si, no? May mga kasama tayo sa network na may mga na-develop na iba-ibang module, no? So, yun, we just have to make people know, no? So, kailangan lang talaga natin i-make this available and known to as many people as possible. Siguro yun, hingi din kami ng tulong ninyo ngayon nakasama dito sa webinar sa ating mga posts sa Facebook, social media, to encourage them to visit our website and avail of the many educational, promotional, formational materials para mapalaganap na itong teachings. Kasi it is really so important and urgent at this time.
Okay. Thank you, Bishop. Ito naman is from an anonymous attendee. Anong bangko po ang hindi nagpa-fund ng coal mining? Kasi halos lahat po yun ng banks.
Yes.
Okay.
Rodne?
May pinakita po tayong 13 banks kanina. Ang maaari po natin gawin ay una-una ay mag-engage tayo sa mga bangkong ito kasi naniniwala naman tayo. We believe that they still have a goodness na natira sa kanilang mga puso. And that's the first step, I think, because Pope Francis has been telling us that solutions can be actually reached, achieved, lalo na sa tinatawag nating genuine dialogue. And genuine dialogue actually will lead us to better relationships with the people na dapat magkaroon ng ecological conversion. So what we did, for example, with the Bank of the Philippine Islands, with Bishop Jerry, of course, last year, and we started it last year in 2018. We talked to them, and we want them to realize that you still have goodness in you, and that you're men of faith, women of faith, that you're Catholic, you're Christian, or your faith, your beliefs says that you need to do this. You need to be sustainable. I think that's the first step. The second step would be actually telling them if you don't divest and if you don't invest in sustainability, then we will be forced to actually divest our investment or actually get our money out from your bank and transfer it. Actually, we have smaller banks, of course, that are recognized by Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. But of course, if you wish to invest your money, you may need to choose institutions that are actually making your money grow for you to help yourself and help others, but at the same time, help the farmers, help the workers, help the indigenous peoples. We have cooperative banks that are actually very successful. We have agricultural banks which are helping also our farmers. So we are doing a lot of things in just depositing our money, investing our money to these institutions. For policy, we're planning also to our coalition, our movement is planning also to do research and advocacy when it comes to having a policy that will establish green banks in the Philippines. But as of now, what we can do for withdraw from coal coalition, we're coming up with actually a list of the banks and criteria. If these banks belong to top 10 of the polluters, they fund polluters, or if this bank is actually 1% or 2%, the investment is on coal-fired power plant, or the investment is 65% or 30%. Whichever is lower, then we may need to actually support these banks which has more investment in renewable energy and in sustainable activities. Bishop.
Yes, tama yan. I agree yun. Yun lang talagang sa simula eh. We really dialogue with them, encourage them to divest. Yung iba kasi dati, sabi nila sa dialogue namin, 70-30 na daw. 70 dati sa dirty coal, tapos 30 sa renewable. Ngayon, they reach a point na nag-50-50 na. So we are pushing na gawin na nilang 60-40, 60 in favor of renewable energy, unti-unti hanggang maging 100% for renewable energy. Sa country natin po, like even in Negros, marami na tayong mga renewable sources of energy, and not necessarily solar lang, meron ding wind, meron ding hydro, geothermal, no? So marami, at saka hindi lang naman through farms, no? Pwede namang distributed energy sa mga rooftops natin. May mga bago ng mga technology na talagang feasible na, no? In fact, kami dito sa Negros, 4 na dioceses ng mga obispo, we agreed on collaborating with a solar company so that we will be able to provide an alternative source na renewable sa current na grid natin. So yun, we can be more proactive in this, no?
Yes, Sheen. Next question.
Okay, from Miss Celita Katibog, is going back to basics leading to the new normal?
Bishop.
Sige. Yeah, part of that, kasi tinuruan na tayo na mag-ano that what matters the most, no? Na sana hindi natin nakalimutan yung na-realize natin during the quarantine na ano talaga yung pinaka-importante. At pero at the same time, we need to also adapt to the development, no, na sustainable, no? Kaya ang criteria lang natin na dapat it will not violate our faith convictions, our values, at saka ang development dapat is integral. Hindi lang economic lang, you have profit, pero at the same time nag-destroy ng energy, ng environment. So ganun, no?
Okay.
Sige.
Okay, Sir Rodney, a question from Carl, is Living Laudato Si PH connected with the global Catholic climate movement here in the Philippines, or it is like a separate Catholic organization?
We are partners with the Global Catholic Climate Movement in the Philippines, and actually we belong to the same coalition called Withdraw from Coal Coalition. The Global Catholic Climate Movement is also a direct member of the International Global Catholic Climate Movement. And for me personally, I've been part of the Global Catholic Climate Movement in 2015. And I think the Global Catholic Climate Movement Filipinas was founded in the late, I think 2017 or 2018. So we work together with the Global Catholic Climate Movement Filipinas. We have common activities and we work together. And at the same time with the campaign on divestment, we work together in the Withdraw from Coal Coalition. So different civil society movements, the Catholic Church and different faith communities are uniting their forces to have this campaign on divest and invest. So Living Laudato Si Philippines is more focused on the programs that we enumerated, the hashtag LS211 and Laudato Si Schools that we work together with FABC, Federal Aviation Bishops Conference, and also with in developing the framework. We work together with the CASRI, Integral Human Development at the Vatican. So we work together with different communities and with different organizations. But the best thing is that with Eco-Convergence program of the Catholic Bishops Conference of the Philippines National Secretariat for Social Action, we are now synergizing all our efforts and helping each other, helping communities to achieve our dream that Laudato Si will become a way of life in the Philippines.
Thank you, sir. We have another question. in the chat box from Miss Amil Lopez. If not coal power plants, what are the alternatives? Is Philippines ready for these? How can you make it more renewable and clean?
Yes, Bishop.
Talagang ready na, matagal na actually.
Bishop,
Kailangan
Sir
na talaga
Rodne
ng
Galicha?
political will ng ating mga leaders eh. May Renewable Energy Act na tayo, may mga implementing guidelines na rin yung iba. Rodney can talk more about the concrete, no, kasi hindi ako more on sa mga laws, no, that andito na sa ating country. So may mga ano na talaga. In fact, as I told you kanina, dito sa Negros, marami kaming mga renewable sources of energy dito. May biomass, may ethanol, may solar, no, may hydro, may geothermal. So may wala pa kaming ano dito wind, no? Pero pwede din 'yon. There are technologies already that are available then. And also talagang considered clean siya and affordable, no?
Yeah. And Bishop, as we have said, this already a Renewable Energy Act. At ito ay we know that it's already how many years na Renewable Energy Act ng Pilipinas. And we know that our coal, actually a coal-fired power plant, plants in the Philippines are being the source of the coal is from some of them, not really that high grade, is from Semirara. And Semirara, coal mining in Antique. Yan po, maraming problema na po ang nandun at nakita natin, we watch television that there have been a lot of accidents happening there, and malapit na rin maubos siya. And right now ay marami ding ini-import tayo ng mga coal. Galing pa iyan sa Indonesia, and some I think galing pa sa ibang lugar like Australia. And for us, for Living Laudato si Philippines and the environmental advocates, we're not only thinking about coal being incinerated or coal being used for power. Dahil titingnan natin yung mula extraction, development, and utilization ng coal. We know that mountains are being mined and being moved, and then in transporting coal from the source to the coal-fired power plant areas, it also takes a lot of transportation, no? And we emit also a lot of carbon dioxide. And hindi pa natin alam kung pati itong mga coal na ito ay natatapon yung iba sa karagatan. So if you look at coal-fired power plants, we're not talking only about the carbon emission nung coal-fired power plant doon sa planta, kundi kung saan pa ito kinukuha mula sa extraction, sa pag-transport nito, at hanggang sa pagsunog nito. At what are the others? Meron tayong ocean, pinag-aaralan na, at meron pinag-aaralan ang iba't ibang mga siyentipiko. Ang Ateneo de Davao ay pinag-aaralan na rin yung ganitong teknolohiya. May solar po tayo. Ang sabi nga po ay napakarami nating areas dito for solar energy. Sabi nga ni Rizal Adios Patria Adorada, Región del Sol querida, lupang iniirog ng sikat ng araw, at lupa ng araw ng luwalhati pagsinta sa ating lupang hinirang. Napakalaki, at wala pang 20% ng solar energy sa Pilipinas ang ating maximize. We have wind energy as well. Noon pa, kung nakita nyo po sa mga weather stations na merong eroplano na umiikot-ikot, yun po, wind po yun. Wind energy na umiikot-ikot ng ganyan. At kung wala kayong tubig, at nakita nyo po yung parang umiikot doon sa papunta kayo sa north, ayun po, nagbuon ng tubig. Ayun, wind energy po iyon. And at the same time, gives electricity nga po talaga. At we have hydro pa. Napakarami nating mga talon, napakarami nating mga ilog, runoff river, at may geothermal din po tayo mula sa ilalim ng lupa na ginagamitan ng tubig. At napakarami pa pong iba. Ito po yung indigenous. Hindi na po natin ito ini-import. Hindi po tulad ng coal na kinakalkal natin. We destroy the forest, we destroy mountains, we destroy the sea. Actually, sa Semirara, sa ilalim na ng dagat sila kumukuha ng coal. Meron silang pit doon na kinalkal na ang dagat at nilagyan lang ng parang moro para hindi makapasok yung dagat. So we need to maximize the indigenous native source of energy we have. Hindi pa natin ito na ma-maximize. Yes, Sheen.
And now, I think this question also for Bishop Jerry. Wait. How can the Catholic Church in the Philippines push the government harder so it will stop putting up coal-fired power plants with the private sector? It's terrible that post-COVID-19, back to destructive operations na naman. All the industries relying on dirty energy sources. All Catholics should be compelled to campaign against coal. This is from Miss Ina Silverio.
Yeah, what we can do is really conscience formation, as bishop. As Catholic Church talaga, we work not so much na parang dictator, no? But of course, we need to constantly integrate in our preaching, in our formation, lalo na sa conscience formation. Kasi dapat it has to start with ecological conversion talaga eh. So yun, yung ating mga most, I don't know how many percent, by the way, I have to remind myself, there's somebody from Kenya who would appreciate if we talk now in English so that he can follow. But anyway, you know that I got lost now. What I was about to say was when you know, in our approach is really conscience formation. No, we need to really focus on making people aware, educating, raising the awareness of what's happening in our world today. Kaya I also join our young people in this climate strike. It's also a way of raising consciousness. No, we also use the social media. We use the traditional media to put across the message. I join other groups, interfaith, other even non-faith groups, in order just to work together. No, kasi it's important. It's not just a Catholic thing. Although as Catholics we are really challenged, no, but it is really it has to be done by all of us together, no. So to force the government, well, we really have to start mobilizing our basic ecclesial communities. It has to come from below, no? But it has to come from an informed conscience, no? It's not just parang martial law, no? But it's really, I hope there is real conversion among us. So as a bishop, I have influence over our priests. I can encourage our priests, but and then also the priests in turn, they can do what they can do within the parishes, and those also in the Catholic schools, they can do the same. Those among our, I was about to say this. I wonder how many percent are among the congressmen and women, among our politicians, are really Catholics. Even those who are teaching in the Catholic school, public schools, no, many of them I think are Catholic, no. So it is through this that we can always encourage them, no. So that's why every opportunity that I have as a bishop, I try to speak, I try to communicate the same message, so that in that way I hope I can influence and inspire fellow Catholics and even non-Catholics to care for our common home, because we are all in this together, no. No one is exempted.
Okay, and actually we have a lot of questions right now. This one is from anonymous attendee. Are there any updates regarding the SMC's coal-fired power plant to be put up in San Carlos City, Negros Occidental? Bishop?
Yeah, up to date, if you listen to our LGU, our local officials, they're saying that they are really bent on and pushing through with the project. I think I don't know, but that's what we heard. That was what is communicated to us, that they are bent on pushing with the project. But at the same time, as far as I'm concerned, there is no IEC yet how you call that, go signal from the Department of Energy and Environment. So we are trying to monitor that, because we need to be consulted as constituents, no? And so if there is a legitimate opposition to it, we should be given a hearing. So this is where we need to really encourage people to join, no, and so that we will be heard. So for the moment, there's nothing yet, no. But yun lang. But that's what I can say for the moment. There's nothing yet here, but I don't know. We do not know what they are doing. But we keep vigilant.
For the next question is, how can we strengthen the involvement and commitment of young people to apply the principles of sustainable development? Sir Rodney, may answer this question.
Pakiulit, Sheen, ng question.
How can we strengthen the involvement and commitment of young people to apply the principles of sustainable development?
Of course, meron tayong 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and there are youth organizations focusing on Sustainable Development Goals. But briefly, for Living Laudato Si Philippines, we came up with a document, Laudato Si and Sustainable Development Goals. In this publication, in which we will be launching on March 24, May 24, yes. There are small actions that the young people can do there. So we have some parts of the handbook that the young people may be able to choose what kind of doable actions that they can actually do at home, in the workplace, or at school. So we'll be posting the handbook soon, and you can actually download the handbook for you to choose what kind of action you wanted to do as regards Laudato Si, complementing Sustainable Development Goals. That's for Living Laudato Si Philippines.
Okay. Next question is, in 1988, the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines issued a pastoral statement criticizing large-scale mining as destructive to the environment. But some dioceses are not practicing what they're preaching. Is this true? How can we address it as a Catholics if our leaders are unable to walk the talk?
I don't think it's true now at present. Maybe in the past. I think all of us bishops are unanimous in really fighting for responsible mining. When it comes to investment, they really have just to show if there are really occasions where money is really invested on mining. Then we can dialogue. The first step is always dialogue. We can approach them one-on-one first. We don't have to embarrass or shame them in public, but we can go and talk to them. No, I think most dioceses are now saying that we are a listening church, and so we can always call their attention, like as in a family. We can always give each other feedback.
Yeah, and we've encountered this kind of concern, and for Living Laudato Si Philippines, we, with what Bishop said, dialogue is really important. But as parishioners, parishioners living in the parish and in the diocese, we are also responsible for reminding our church leaders, our lay leaders, that Pope Francis said that these are the things that you need to do to care for a common home. Pope Francis is very, very passionate when it comes to the issue of mining, specifically large-scale mining. And actually, all the bishops in the Philippines, the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, the pastoral letter on ecology, they actually agreed that we need to oppose all these projects that harm our environment, particularly large-scale mining and large dams. So I think it's very, very clear that we need to empower our lay community. We need to be responsible as lay people to remind our church leaders and to pray for them and to talk to them face to face that actually we need to work together because this is what the Pope said. This is the social doctrine of the church. This is the social teaching of the church. At the same time, all the bishops of the Philippines unanimously agreed that we need to oppose this and we need to address the issues and concerns of those who are affected by large-scale mining, specifically, for example, in Homonhon Island,
Yeah.
in Masbate, in Aroroy, and a lot more. And actually, the bishops are talking to each other as well. The bishop, for example, of the late Bishop Dinualdo Gutierrez in Tampacan, in Marbel, the Bishop of Borongan, Bishop Varquez,
Marquez.
and also the retired Bishop, Archbishop of Tuguegarao, Archbishop Utleg. These are the bishops, Bishop Bastes. So they are talking also to each other and updating each other on what kind of strategy they wish to do. So I think we need to also be responsible lay people and be brave enough to pray and talk to our church leaders.
Okay, we have actually 20 minutes left for this webinar session. I think we will just address two more questions. Is it okay, Sir Rodney, to answer two more questions? And okay.
Yes, sure.
Okay. As an educator, how can we contribute in your program? How are we going to present in our young learners and community the goal of your organization? Thank you.
Yes. As we always do with in the Diocese of San Carlos, in the Diocese of Negros, and in some congregations and educational institutions, perhaps our secretariat, Sheen, JR, John Leo, Rexor, Carl, Winken, and JR would be able to answer your questions, and they will type actually the answers on how to contact us as regards the 10 tips on how to live Laudato Si in amidst of the pandemic. It's very essential, sabi nga ng isang madre. And we will share what we have. And of course, in coordination, collaboration with other organizations and entities such as the GCCM Pilipinas, we have the Archdiocese of Manila, we have actually CBCP NASSA, and a lot more. We have ESSC, Eco Jesuits, and we have the Dominicans also doing, starting their work on ecology, and the Franciscans. We have the Association of Major Religious Affairs in the Philippines. And actually, the Catholic Educational Association of the Philippines will be partnering with them soon to pilot Laudato Si schools and bring hashtag LS211 to your schools. And of course, in our social media, we have two actually social media, big social media video campaigns. First is the hashtag Laudato Si Sunday, in which the gospel of the day or Sunday is being related to the teachings of Pope Francis in Laudato Si. And of course, we have hashtag Buhay Laudato Si, in which we will feature some tips, little tips on how to live Laudato Si in our homes, actually. And in the parishes, the Global Catholic Climate Movement, if you visit their website, there's this, some tips. So there's a document there on how to inculcate and integrate Laudato Si in the parishes. Yes. Yes, Sheen?
Okay, and now for the last question,
the Council of Laity of the Philippines joined also our webinar right now. We wish to sit down with the Council of Laity of the Philippines to work together as well, under, of course, the umbrella of the Ecological Conversion of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines. NASSA.
Okay, so this question is from Kevin. How can the church and state collectively act against COVID-19 and DRRM? how can they also influence and empower the youth?
Yeah, Bishop, if you can share what you did in San
Yeah,
Carlos.
actually, in all our public schools and even private schools, there are associations now, not like the Youth for Climate Hope, that's local in Negros. We There is a coalition, no. So students from both private, Catholic, and public schools, they can join movements like this, no. Uh, we also have a group of Project Tulay, no? This group of young people who would go around municipalities and cities and giving this climate awareness sessions, no, among young people. Um, these are means in which we can strengthen the ties between government and private and Catholic Church. Also, during the year, there are several events, no, like the Earth Hour, the Earth Day, Water Conservation Day, National Forest Day, things like that. No, this coming May 17 to 24 is Laudato Si Week, and then for the whole month of September is from September 1 to October 4. We have the Season of Creation. No, so we can really make use of these various events where we can form people, we can uh, give pressure to our advocacy, to support our advocacies, various advocacies, no. And then the use of social media, I think, is very important nowadays, especially during the lockdown, no. During the quarantine, people are mostly in the internet, and that's where we call it now digital activism, no. So we use the social media to promote our advocacies, to form consciences, to raise awareness, to move and inspire people into action. Um, there is such thing as ubas, ugnayan ng barangay at simbahan. This is also another venue where, again, civil society, government, and non-government organizations and the church can work together. So it's for us, like in San Carlos, in terms of community rehabilitation program for drug addicts, we collaborate a lot, no. We shared common programs. So yun, there are so many ways. If we really want to do something, we can always find something in the neighborhood, in the ano, no, in the vicinity.
Yeah. As Bishop, see, Sheen, I just would like to answer Sister Mila. Our 88-year-old sister is asking if you have a
Wow.
project for the elderly, 80 years old and
Wow.
above, so that they can help in saving Mother
That's
Earth. Thank
nice.
you, po. Yeah, we will discuss this, of course. There are some little things that our Lola sisters can do sa kanilang room or even sa refectory, or even sa nakaupo sila. And there are little things that they can actually do.
Mm.
And also, by preparing also their food, I mean, they can all actually help Mother Earth if the younger sister prepare food that is organic, that is farm to table, etc., etc. Using organic soap, for example, laundry soap para labhan ang mga damit, ang mga habits ng ating mga elder sisters. So, but yes, thank you for suggesting that. And that's very, very important, specifically for our elder nuns and also our lolas and lolos staying at home. While they are sitting down and or lying on bed, they can actually do something for Mother Earth. Thank you, sister.
How nice for participating, huh? Very nice.
Yes, we can still get more questions, Sheen, and before we end later with the Oratio and Barata prayer. More questions? Open questions. No more? Let's just review. Ano pang hindi pa nasagot dito?
One concrete suggestion is keep in touch in our website, no? Whatever,
Yes.
we can always continue chatting, comparing notes, sharing best practices, updating each other, what's happening in our area.
Yeah, si Sir Chad may tanong din pero nasagot na rin ni JL. Of course, Ina, Miss Ina Silverio of WeGen. And yeah, we're happy also, Bishop, with WeGen because they are helping seminaries, dioceses, and at the same time cathedrals, and they put solar panels on the roof. And I'm one of the witnesses that what they did in San Lorenzo Ruiz Seminary in Romblon. And that's where I studied before, when I was still in the seminary. Now I'm outside. The rector said that really they saved a lot from paying electricity because of the solar rooftops that WeGen helped to install.
Part of the ecological conversion, actually, Rod, is really changing mindset or paradigm. And WeGen is really a proponent on changing paradigm in terms of distributed energy rather than rely on big companies, no, or even with these power plants that are generating big supplies, no, base load. They are offering an alternative that is really clean and also cheap. So at least if you're looking for an alternative, this is one of the several available options that we have that WeGen is offering. No.
Yes, and our Canossian sisters asked that what networks can we form. Actually, well, the religious has already a network, the Association of Major Religious Superiors in the Philippines. The good thing is you have the Justice and JPICC, Justice, Peace, and Integrity of Creation Commission, Committee of the AMRSP, the partner. But at the same time, for us, for Living Laudato Si Philippines, if you wanted to work with us, then we can maximize our campaigns for you. Just call us and email or email us or Facebook or text us. But of course, we every parishioner, we are actually advising and encouraging you to work with your social action centers in your dioceses. And that actually the pastoral letter of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines is asking dioceses to do ecology tests under the social action centers of the dioceses. And at the same time, your parishes must have one social action center that is also focused on ecology. So I think those are one of the mandates of the Parish Council, the PCP. Ano nga yun, Bishop?
PBCP.
Pastoral Council of the Philippines
Yes.
document, PCP2, that we need to put ecology desk in our parishes and dioceses. So I have 7 minutes.
Yes. We're moving now on our next segment. Thank you so much again for your active participation in our Q&A portion. I'd like to encourage everyone to at least describe one word that sums up today's session. Your key takeaways in this session. So please try to type it in the chat box. Any word that sums up today's session or a key takeaways for this session, tonight's sessions, as we close this webinar session. Inspiring, life-changing. Wow.
Magisterial responsibility.
Conscience, responsibility. More. Wow. Thank you.
Commitment.
Commitment. Wow. Thank you. Any more? Okay.
Faith.
Save Mother Earth is to save our soul. Faith. Hashtag realization. Educative. Living Laudato Si. Thank you so much for this. responsibility. Now, I think just okay.
Take action now.
Okay, so that's it. We're about to close our session. Please keep us an eye out on our upcoming webinar sessions. We will be having our next webinar session on climate justice on May 7, 2020, followed by climate change and public health session on May 14, 2020, and Sustainable Development Goals and Laudato Si on May 24, 2020, in line with the Laudato Si celebration. And also, please get in touch with us on our Facebook page, Twitter, website, Instagram. Please feel free to reach us out, and we will try to answer all your questions, and we're happy to partner with you in our upcoming events or engagements we have. And lastly, again, thank you so much for being with us today. We hope that you learned something from us, and we hope to see you on our next webinar session, which is on May 7. Our topic will be our climate justice. Thank you so much, everyone. Sir
And
Rodne,
Sheen?
yes?
Yes, Sheen, we wish Bishop to have the blessing
Yes.
right now.
Okay.
Yes, po, Bishop.
Yes. Lord, we thank you for whatever you put in our hearts to inspire us to care for our common home, and also to hear the cry of the poor, and especially those who are suffering now because of the pandemic. We ask you now to bless each one of us, and including all our loved ones, near and far, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Bishop.
Bishop. And
Thank
right
you,
You're
now,
welcome.
right now, we'll be having the Oratio and Barata prayer as our closing prayer. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's pause for a moment and say the Oratio and Barata. All together. Let's pause for a moment. Makapangyarihan at mapagmahal na Ama,
Yan, pagmahal na Ama,
sumamo
nagsusumamo kami sa iyo upang hilingin ang iyong patnubay laban sa COVID-19 na nagpapahirap ng langit.
Gabayan mo ang mga tao, kaligtasan at tumutula sa sama ng
Upang ihinto ang pagdadanas ng bayan ng sakit at malasakit. Itaas namin ang mga nagtulis at wala mabuting kalusugan. Ingatan mo rin kaluwan mo ang biyaya ng tulong sa iyo. Pagkawin sa atin ang pagmalasakit ng mga nagkailangan. Nagsumamo sa iyo. Ihinto ang pagkalat ng virus at pangadya kami sa Inibig namin ito sa pamagitan ni Yeso Cristo na nabubuhay at nagkaling kasama ng Espiritu Santo, isang Diyos sa walang hanggan. Dumudulog kami sa iyong patnubay, mahal naming Ina ng Diyos. Pakinggan mo ang aming mga kahilingan sa aming pangangailangan. Pangadya mo kami sa lahat ng at malupay.
Lalabihin, nagpapagaling ng mga may sakit, ipanalangin mo kami. San Rafael Arcangel, ipanalangin mo kami. San Roque, ipanalangin mo. San Luis, ipanalangin mo kami. San Pedro Calungsod, ipanalangin mo kami.
Ipanalangin mo kami.
At maraming salamat sa ating facilitator, si Sheen Orejuela, at of course sa ating partnerships and events manager, si Rex Soramancio, at sa lahat ng ating mga tumulong sa ating secretariat, kay JR, JL, Winken, kay Sheen, of course kay Carl, at sa lahat ng mga tumulong. Palakpakan po kay Bishop Jerry, and we hope good evening po sa lahat. And,
salamat.
God
Welcome.
bless us all.
Good evening. God bless. God bless. Thank you.
Have a good night's rest.